What's going on, guys? It is your average Joes, and we're here with another video to talk to you about safe storage in your household and in your vehicles and anywhere else.
The whole kit and caboodle.
Yep.
So on this topic, it can be a pretty extensive topic, but we're going to start with home considerations as far as the safe storage. Where you might want to store the firearm, and there's a big thing is accessibility. Obviously, you only want certain people to have access to it. You want to be able to access it quickly, so if the time arises that you need to access it, you can without having to defeat too many mechanisms. But you also don't want any younger kids or anything getting a hold of it. So we'll start off as considerations. Probably most familiar or most immediate would be the bedroom.
The bedroom, definitely.
So
where the magic happens. Where you store your guns, people. What are you thinking?
Gosh, you dirty-minded fools.
Goodness.
So anyways, you hear the term nightstand gun, okay? It's your bump in the night gun. It's what you're reaching for whenever you hear that noise that is unfamiliar and it's 2 a.m. and you're all groggy and you're like, what's going on? So with that, one of the better places to probably store a firearm is in your nightstand.
Absolutely.
So with that consideration, it's pretty quick to be able to open up the nightstand, grab that gun. Hopefully, if you listen to our previous videos, you got a flashlight on it already, or you got a flashlight nearby.
Yep.
So you do that. If you're going to do that, I would suggest you store it in a holster, preferably a Kydex, something that's hard around the trigger guard and everything. So like we have here, that is actually how I store mine in my nightstand.
Yep.
So I have it like that. I have it in a nightstand. I pull it open. I reach in. It can be dark. I feel that handle, and I've got that extra layer of protection there. I'll take that holster and just, there we go. We're ready to rock. So that's probably the quickest, easiest way to store a firearm in the bedroom. It's right there. However, you get kids that are around toddler age and they're starting to walk and crawl and get into everything. That's another thing to consider. You can get a number of different safes. I know you can get ones that are underneath the bed, and it can have either a digital key code or a fingerprint or a key. All those have their pros and cons. So you can have one, it slides out, and you got a gun sitting right there, and it's another means to another safety mechanism you have to defeat in order to access that firearm. So then that way it's harder for the kids to get into it as long as they don't have a key or the code, because kids are curious. They're just naturally curious, which that's a whole nother topic. One of our videos down the road is going to be mentioning it to kids and how to safely bring them to know firearms to help eliminate some of that curiosity. I'm trying to. Can you think of some other
absolutely.
storage?
I think consideration between storage space is definitely the thought process of who do I want accessing this, and if you have kids in the house, not only toddlers. And I'm gonna just touch on this for a second because I don't want this to go way south. But I'm a youth pastor now, and so we see the numbers for suicide rates. We see skyrocketing. And hopefully that's not a case in your home. But you want to make sure, even if you have a teenager and they are knowledgeable in guns, having a space where they can only access your guns when you're involved, what I'm saying? And so because of maybe different things, and there is cases, you know your kids, and so if your kids if you're good with it, if you feel good about it, if they're mature enough, that's okay. I'm not saying don't give them that. I'm just saying it's not just a toddler stage. It's definitely things to consider. You have a kid in the house, teenager, rambunctious, doesn't listen, gets into a lot of things, a lot of fights, stuff like angry. It's definitely something to consider.
You get a kid that thinks that mom and dad's guns are cool, and you're not home one day, they're home with themselves, and they want to go out and shoot some targets in the back because he's showing it off to his buddies, and then, heaven forbid, tragedy strikes and something happens. That's a lot of liability on you.
And it's definitely something to consider about. Again, your kids, okay? Right. So that's a decision that you have to make. We can't make
conversation for you. You have to have with them.
Absolutely. But as far as storage goes, I think, Connor, you've hit it all. I think one other one that could be a bedroom one or maybe in another space is the ottoman at the end of a bed. You've got the ottoman. You can just key, or I don't know how they make them nowadays. I know both.
Sometimes you get digital fingerprint ones.
Yeah, I know. Both you and I had the key one. I think.
I mean, that was what, $119 on Amazon.
Yeah,
something like that.
I got it on eBay for maybe 120 years ago, and so.
And then another thing where that goes into the realm is you always want to be able to upgrade your status and your position. So you go with a longer safe, like an under the bed one or an ottoman. You actually have access to one of your longer rifles. AR platform or. It's
not just strict to your pistol gun that you are trying to store. You have more that you can put in.
So that's definitely a consideration. And then I know they make some safes that have got a digital handprint scanner or something that you can mount to the side of a nightstand or a bed frame.
Key fobs. The ones now, the key fobs, you just pass it over and it'll pop open. But definitely something to consider too is, if you have another weapon, to get a safe that is accessible but can also accommodate for both. And here's why. You get a bump in the night and you hear several voices. 2, 3, 4, multiple threats. I'm not grabbing my pistol. I'm going into one of my longer firearms now because I don't know what the threat is. And now I'm not going out and chasing a threat, but if in case a threat comes, now I have a way easier gun to handle and a gun that's going to be able to take multiple threats down. Which
on JD's topic here, we are going to have a video dedicated to kind of the considerations and the safety plans and what to think of in a situation like that down the road here.
I think that's actually our next video, so definitely I'm plugging it right here. Subscribe, like and subscribe, and hit the notification button to get all of our videos sent to you through notifications.
All right, so our next topic is we're going to be talking about maybe placements around the house, considerations on that. A good placement, just to kind of have an idea, is to put a gun maybe easily accessible next to your front door. You get a lot of people that come to your front door, or UPS, or who knows, somebody can maybe if that's your first point of entrance, that's probably where you might have an attacker come through. So
hopefully it's not the UPS guy.
Right. So some good considerations for this is you may want to get like a shelf, and maybe I know one that I had in the past was I had a shelf and then I had like a little decorative box on top of it that had a door on it. And I was able to I had this revolver in there. So then that way, if I go to open my door, I'm not necessarily expecting anything bad to happen or anything like that, but I've always got a gun within arm's reach. Or say, I've got my nightstand gun sitting in the nightstand, and I'm in the living room watching TV. All of a sudden, the doorbell rings, or I hear a noise outside. It's like, that's odd. For this time of day or whatever. Well, then you can just walk up, pull it out of the little storage component where it's concealed. I mean, it's not locked up, but it's concealed. Your average person probably isn't going to look for it there. And I can have that, and I can answer the door and have one, tucked in the back of my waistband or whatever in case something happens while I assess whatever possible threat that could be.
I think something important to note here and we're just going to say it's pretty obvious, but we're going to say it so that there's no confusion, is that if you do put a gun near your front door, to make sure that it is inside of something. Don't just leave it laying on top of a shelf or something in your hall tree. Like, don't do that. And here's why. I come into your house. I have ill intentions to rob your house or whatever.
Delivery guy shows up, say delivery guy delivers your beds or something. You got new beds, but in his evening hours, he's a thief. So he comes in and he sees a gun sitting there by the nightstand. Well, okay.
By the front door.
Anyways, sorry, front door. He comes in, he says, oh, well, one, if I can get to that firearm, now I've got a firearm in the fight. I don't even have to bring one. And two, I'm probably not going to come through the front door in case there is somebody here, because they'll have a firearm right there.
Yeah. Or somebody comes in ill-intentioned, sees that firearm. Instead of, doing whatever they were going to do, instead of doing the things that they were going to do, instead of, coming in and doing whatever they were trying to do, see that gun, they steal it, just walk out. They got a free gun, you lost a gun. And so definitely...
And it upgraded the intentions that they may not have even had.
Yeah.
But they get confronted, and they have one of your guns, and they get confronted by you. Say you come home early, and you weren't even home when the initial break-in happened, and now they'll probably shoot you with your own gun.
And there's nothing worse than dying to your own gun.
Yeah.
But that's something we're just going to throw out there. It's important. Don't just leave it up. Don't just leave it stowed up. If you do right now, find something, seriously, because you're making the situation a lot worse if somebody does break in through your front door.
Yes.
Something else to consider is this. Wherever you are at, to have quick and easy access to a firearm. So, for example, my wife and I, we're always in our living room. I mean, we don't go into our bedrooms until it's sleep time.
For the magic to happen.
When the magic happens. And so, other than that, we're not going into the bedroom. We're staying in our living room. And so, if your time is spent mostly in your living room, to make sure you have accessibility. One thing we've already talked about in the video is an ottoman, okay? If you're in your living room and, to kick up your feet, you have this little ottoman that inside has guns stowed away, that's an easy place to put it, okay? Some things to consider when you are putting your guns in your living room or in, just a family space or whatever, is to consider where you're actually putting it. If you have kids, you're putting something. They have nowadays the flags, picture frames,
awesome.
And so getting those up on the wall high enough to where there's no access from.
And for those of you who don't know necessarily what we're talking about, they'll make like a wooden flag, almost kind of like this thing we have behind us, but wooden, and it'll be activated through like an RIFD card, and you just swipe the RFID card, and then it drops down. And you can actually, sometimes you can fit rifles in them, handguns, stuff like that. So consider that high. Obviously, you got younger kids running around. You're going to want it high and completely out of access for them when they're playing in these common areas.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. You've got one gun. That's the only gun you have in the house. Let's be very clear. Get more guns.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. In case you can't.
It's the old adage to that of one is none and two is one.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the truth.
So, but say you do right now. Money's tight and you can only afford one gun, and you're just getting into this realm. Okay. You just need to. I always like to say you want to have a gun within arm's reach at all times. So. Almost go about your house and think of it positionally. So if you're in your living room, okay, where would I want a gun here? Oh, I'm sitting on my sofa and I've got a coffee table. So let's put a magnet under the coffee table so I can sit there and it's always right there underneath it within an arm's reach, or behind a picture frame on the mantle maybe. So then, you can take that firearm, and whenever you're in that room, you can carry your firearm and store it in those spots in that room. Then, say you go to a loft area because you want to watch the big game with your buddies or whatever. Then you have a magnet behind something in the loft area, so you've got easy access. But that gun should be able to travel with you in every room, so then that way you don't have to run from the living room into the bedroom in order to get your firearm if something happens or you need to go assess a threat. And in times like that, seconds or minutes.
Yeah. Consider this. If you're hearing this and you're like, there's no way I'm not carrying my gun around the house and doing all this stuff, that's crazy talk. Consider this. Consider putting a place that's a middle ground of your house. Some place that from every room is a middle ground. I and I don't think Connor would agree that that's the best situation. But
it's better than nothing.
Exactly. But if in case you don't want to just move things around, and we get that. That's why we have tons of guns. If you don't want to just pick up your gun everywhere you go, move it around, find a middle ground place that if you're in your living room, if you're in your room, if you're in the kitchen, wherever you are, that you can access this gun pretty easily. I would say that's your next best option if you only have one gun.
So I think our final consideration for the day is we're going to talk about safe storage in your vehicles. As we touched on in our previous video, it's ideal to have your firearm on you and not leave it in your car. However, if for some reason, example, you're going into the post office and you're not supposed to carry in a post office or a government building, but you got other errands to run that day, so you got your firearm on you. How do I want to store that firearm in your car? Well, immediately it should come to mind that you're going to want to store it out of sight, so people can't just look in your window, smash your window, and take your gun. And then you might put it in a glove box that you can lock up. That's almost comes factory with every car, so that's a cheap and effective method. However, if a criminal does break in, the first place they're probably going to check is your glove box or your console.
Yep.
So just keep that in mind. They do sell some safes that have got a cut-proof chain that's attached to it, and it would be like almost a lock box that attaches to the frame of your seat. That's a really good option. That's more of a long-term storage option in the vehicle. I wouldn't consider that.
Which we don't consider that. If in case you are going to do that, that's a good option, but we are not recommending that. We're not recommending you just leave your gun stowed away in your car for long-term.
Right. However, there are certain instances that would be understandable.
You work at a space where they don't allow guns, but you don't want to leave your gun at home because you want to have it with you
in case you're going to go hang out with your buddies later.
So you work 5 days a week, and those 5 days you can't take your gun in with you. The lockbox is a great option in that case. Another thing you may have seen, it's all over social media, all over Instagram, but it's a little magnet you have, and you put it up under your steering wheel. And whenever you're ready, you get attacked, you're getting ambushed, somebody's rushing your car, it's a magnet, it loads it, and you pull it right off and you're ready to go. Okay, that is awesome. Mm-hmm. It's a neat, incredible way to carry inside your car. Okay, to carry inside your car.
Yes.
You don't leave the gun right there. Okay, that is not what that is for. They don't recommend that. We don't recommend that. Okay, your gun is in plain sight. Okay. You're asking for bad things to happen.
Exactly. On that token, like he said, that is a great option to carry inside your car. I understand you're driving for hours on end, and I appendix carry, so it's just digging into my gut all the time. Man, I don't enjoy that. So if I have a magnet there that I can sit and it's somewhat out underneath my steering wheel or whatever, a great option. But that is a temporary option whenever you are in your vehicle to help carry it, like he said, carry inside the vehicle rather than storage inside a vehicle.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that we're just going to say on this storage option is this. Have the gun accessible. Okay. If you have a gun in the car, it's for a reason. Okay. Have the gun accessible. Okay. Don't buy too much storage options that are like impossible to get to. Okay, you're already driving, you're already on the road, there's so much things happening to now your brain, something's happening, you gotta go dig under the passenger seat. It's just not likely, okay? Have something close, nearby, in a storage, in a safe, in whatever, that's easy access. But that is not a storage space, okay? That is not somewhere where you keep your gun at all times, okay? You're asking for bad things to happen, okay? If you're new to this, if you've been in this for a while, guys, don't leave your gun in your cars.
And the final token on some of this storage stuff is the fact that you got to remember the any way you have it stored, that's another mechanism that you have to defeat in a critical situation. So if you are going to store it, by all means store it safely, but you might want to consider carrying it in red status with one in the chamber, no safety mechanism, because like I said, seconds turn into minutes in critical situations. And I would hate for the fact that you got 4 or 5 safety mechanisms be the matter of how that incident might result.
Yeah. In the event of something really taking place, something really happening, and you are the only person that has access, maybe you and your spouse have access to this lockbox, right? Or safety in your room, in your living, whatever, right? Let it be a quick one, okay? Don't have it stowed away. Don't have the safety on it. You are the only two that have it, okay? There's no reason why you should have a safety on it. There's no reason. If in case you're going to need it, all these extra steps are hurting you, okay? So make sure, stow away safely. Don't stow in your car, okay? And get your firearm to a place that's going to be safe but easy accessible.
And comfortable.
So that's it for today, but we just want to remind you, make sure, comment down below, share this with a family or friend, and also smash the subscribe button. Go ahead and click the notification so that you get our upcoming videos.
Give us those comments. The algorithm is wanting comments right now.
Yeah.
Helps us out. So.
Comment and share.